Okay. I think I've been unmuted, so I will continue to speak. Welcome to the 53rd Annual Homeowners Association meeting for the Alderbrook Golf and Yacht Club. This is going to be a little bit of a new experience by doing it all by Zoom. We have little control over cameras other than what you do specifically on your own end. And please be sure that you keep your microphones muted until it's time for you to do some type of a presentation or report. Thank you. So welcome, and I hope everybody's enjoyed the slideshow that was put together by Mary Jen Kennedy. She always does an amazing job, right? We can all applaud that, good. And so you know that between Mary Jen and Julie, I'm sure they have arranged to have this placed on our website as a four-mass extra. So if you want to review it, please feel free to go back to our website and you'll be able to do such. The first thing that I need to do here is to introduce the new candidates that are running for the 2020 election for the Board of Director position. The three candidates that are running this year are Bill Holtz, Michael Johnston, there he is, and Pete Wall, somewhere's on there. So I wish you all the best of luck, and we'll have the outcome on this towards the end of the meeting. I also would like to introduce to you the Board of Directors. Not everybody here, I believe, has met them. I am the President, Tim Misick. Our Vice President is Michael Johnston. Wave, Michael, if they can see you. Treasurer is Dave Hawkins, and Dave will not be running again for re-election, so this will be his last official meeting as a Board of Director for us. He's done an outstanding job. Our Corporate Secretary is Teresa Arugio, Director Marnie Hart, another Director Ron Warren, and finally Director Jim Winchell. This has been a very, very active and good, well-balanced board for your community, and it's been my pleasure to serve with them. Next, I would like to introduce to you somebody or a team that's new that we had to put together because of our General Manager Claire departing to another opportunity. So we put together a search team, and I think it's important for all of you to know who they are. And they've been active, and you'll hear more about this later in our presentation. But the members of the search team are Rhonda Westhover, who is the leader of the team, and she's a past president and director of AGYC. John Dobson, who has been a long-term member here, and he's a past director of the Port of Shelton. Erica North, who is relatively new here, been here I think 2 years, but Erica comes to this team with a unique background of also having HOA certifications.
She's not here.
Another person on the board is, or on the team rather, is Jim Fitzgerald. Jim's background is being a regional manager, I believe it was of 10 areas for a significantly large Merck pharmaceutical company. And he was in charge of sales for them. Then we also have Jubilee Whitman, who is long-term, again, member here at AGYC, who lives here full-time, but she's also a partner and chief financial officer of Alderbrook Properties. And then finally, I am on the search team and proud to be there. It's been a very active team, and again, you'll hear a little bit more about that as the program goes on. Next, I have a bunch of acknowledgements that I would like to give. And first, I want to acknowledge Julie Hinman for the many contributions that she makes by helping our community and individual members maintain their senses when dealing with the strange world of computers and information technology. She handles everything from maintaining the social media for us to being our IT guru for the entire association. People like Julie is what makes our community great to be living here. And without her volunteering to do this type of a role, we would not be having this meeting. I also want to give a huge thank you to all of you who have chaired and co-chaired committees. We currently have 16 committees, 3 ad hoc committees, and the support that these committees provide our community is invaluable and goes a long way to making this the best place to live in the area. We love to call it home. I also want to thank all of our department heads for their dedication and cooperation that they have demonstrated during this very unusual time. They have done much to help us make a very difficult almost seem doable. Finally, I want to thank each of you, our members. You've trusted us, your general manager, your board of directors, to make the necessary decisions to navigate through these very difficult times. I am so proud that thus far, we have been able to adapt our operations to keep our community safe and healthy so that we will be able to once again enjoy the many enjoyable activities and wonderful friendships that make Alderbrook Golf and Yacht Club what it is. Thank you all very much. You should feel very good. Next, I want to do a sad part, which we do annually, and that is to recognize those who have passed and left Alderbrook during the past fiscal year. Starting last May, we've lost Rosemary Dawson, Tom Kolosky died in May, Marilyn Larson in June, Nancy Guernsey in August, Harold Rains, who is a Bayshore member of the golf area, died in October. Tim Whitman also passed away in October. Jim Sroke, okay, friend of everybody, passed away in October. Gail Stampler passed in November. Dwayne McCraw in December. Dr. Bob McCarthy died in December. Patty Dawson recently on May 14th, and Larry Hendrickson on May 24th. Let's give a moment of silence for all of our past members. On the positive side, we have grown. During this past fiscal year, there were 49 title transfers of properties for AGYC. From that, AGYC sold 2 of our lots. Alderbrook Properties closed on 4 new homes. They would have closed on more, except the pandemic kind of shut everything down. So we are anticipating a number of closures in the very near future. And there were 41 private home or lot sales done throughout our community of title transfers. To the best of my ability, I've been able to count a total of 45 new family members who have joined Alderbrook community. So we are growing even during some difficult times. If I can change a page here, I will continue. Okay, now it's time for the President's remarks. It has been a challenging year for all of us, and I would like to acknowledge the entire AGYC community for having the understanding and flexibility to allow your leadership to make the many difficult decisions and adjustments necessary to deal with these very unusual times. Throughout the past year, we experienced a series of situations that affected our community. Last June, our membership approved a 5-year road and drainage assessment that has been implemented, and we have seen tremendous progress starting last fall. We just completed this year's project thanks to our volunteer infrastructure project manager, Ken Goldblatt. Give Ken some applause. His coordination and oversight of the project design engineer, of the contract negotiations, and finding ways to keep the overall costs under control has been extremely important to keeping this project moving smoothly. We also need to thank the many volunteers who answered the call to help control traffic during the road preparation and paving stages of the projects. These volunteers have saved our community several thousands of dollars to help keep our costs in check. Thank you all so very, very much. Last June and July, our back 9 cart paths were repaved, completing the 2-year cart path paving project. The periscope on the 18th tee box was refurbished thanks to Chad and his crew. We also need to thank our partner PUD1 for providing a crew and their high lift boom truck to help get the periscope back up onto the tall pool that it is supported by. By October, our grateful thoughts about our vendor partner PUD1 changed when we were surprised by a water rate increase. This was planned to go into effect January of this year. The size of this unexpected rate increase would stress our budget and be difficult for us to deal with. After several meetings and much internal work, several of our members, Director Marnie Hart and volunteer Paul Strapak, organized an approach to help convince the PUD directors to delay the effective increase date. This was further pushed back due to the coronavirus pandemic that we are all now dealing with. We are still in communications with the PUD and will continue to seek clarity so the real need and why and how to justify the large rate increase that they have proposed for AGYC. January 2020 came with exciting news. AGYC won not one or two, but 4 Best of awards for our area. These awards were for the best golf course, the best restaurant, and our favorite waitress, Jane, received 2 awards for the best waitress. Once again, we were feeling good about ourselves. That's right. Also in January, after months of preparation, our strategic plan was presented and adopted by the board. This, again, was done and put together by a community of volunteers from our community. Come February, some of us were hearing about a little-known flu that seemed to be spreading at a very rapid pace. By March 14th, we had a meeting and it was decided to cancel all clubhouse activities and limit golfing effective March 16th. By March 23rd, our governor issued an order to stop all businesses except those that were considered essential. Things were changing rapidly and we were adapting to a new way of living as fast as possible. Many of our part-time and full-time employees were furloughed and we were encouraged to stay home and stay safe. Well, we did. And though it was difficult, and for some controversial, we have managed to get through those painful weeks. We are now slowly reopening our golf operations, calling employees back to work, and we are hopeful that before too much longer, we will be able to start the slow reopening of our food and beverage services. Unfortunately, during this time, our general manager decided to accept a different opportunity to further her personal career growth. Fortunately, with our department heads, we have good leadership and some adjustments were made so that we could control our day-to-day operations while we search for a suitable replacement. I am pleased to tell you that our search team is one to be proud of. Much progress has been made and we have received many very good resumes. So far, we have had responses from 16 candidates and have completed our first stage of reviews. Next Friday, we will do a second, more detailed interview with select candidates. The deadline for candidates to submit their resume is June 15th, and I expect to receive a few more resumes for our team members to consider. I know one was received again today, as far away, believe it or not, as Dublin, Ireland. We are well on our way to meeting the goal of having a new general manager in place by our deadline of mid-August, if not sooner. Our new board members will soon be announced, and I'm pleased to tell you that the board will be attending a series of video training classes specifically designed for HOA board members. This additional training is being done to improve our ability to provide you, our members, the best representation and decision-making possible as we move forward to meet the challenges towards consistently improving the wonderful community that we all live in. And with that, I want to put out a reminder to everybody that a little bit later on during this meeting, we will have an open session to try to deal with questions and comments from you, our audience, and the community members. This will be done through the chat section of the Zoom screen that you're looking at. So you will, when you're ready to do something, you can click on chat and type in your comment. Rhonda Westover is going to help me keep up with those questions that might be coming in, and we'll try our best to deal with them. Hopefully it will go as planned. Okay. Next comes our committee reports. And we have a number of reports that are going to be done. And I want to again draw to everybody's attention the value and the importance of all of these committees. We have large committees and smaller committees. Each one is very, very important to the overall success of the lifestyles that we enjoy living out here. So the first committee that is chaired by Rhonda Westover will be Buildings and Architecture. And Rhonda, if you can activate your mic, or Julie, however that's going to be done.
I got it.
Okay, good.
Thank you very much. I do want to take a minute to identify the members of the committee. Sharon Ferguson, Denny Flanagan, Rod Heidemann, Leona Klein, Rainey Lampert, Larry Morris, Rickford Barnsey, and Wayne Hazel. That we've done a lot this year. We've been real busy almost the full year. We considered more than 75 applications. Some of the topics, general topics that were covered during the year were fences, yard maintenance, mailboxes, updates to the application that we have online, our portions of the strategic plan before it was adopted by the board, RV and trailer storage options, and that's still in progress, checkoff lists for both committee members and new AGYC owners and contractors. In all total, and this is not going to be the same as Tim's number for new households, the applications that we received, we had 24 new home applications. 7 of those were from Alderbrook Properties and 17 were from private owners. We received applications for 2 garages. We accepted 5 landscaping plans. We received applications to construct new, replace, or modify decks. 3 applications for retaining walls. 7 to paint or repaint homes. 8 applications for new sheds or cart barns. 15 applications for fencing and or screening. 1 remodel, and 7 miscellaneous requests along the lines of RV and concrete pads, covers, hot tubs, driveways, and a dog kennel. Of the projects that we considered, 25 have been completed as of the end of the fiscal year, and we still have 49 that are pending. And that is our report, Mr. President.
Very much. And for those of you who pay attention to the agendas that go out for the committees, I'm always amazed at the lengthy agenda that the B&A committee constantly is dealing with. How they keep control of it is beyond me, but I really appreciate it. So thank you very much for your report and for all the work that you've done.
It's all in the spreadsheet.
Correct. Yeah, well, spreadsheets help. Our next presenter of their committee will be Glenda Stone, who chairs the Communications Committee. And Glenda, when you're ready, you can start with your report.
Thank you. The Communications Committee updates the AGYC website, posts topical information about the golf course and clubhouse on Facebook, and maintains the online HOA directory and member pages. This committee also produces and distributes a high-quality monthly newsletter to our HOA members. I'd like to thank Mary Jane Kennedy, Julie Hinman, Kelly Holtz, and Chuck Piazza, who are on the committee. If you would like to get involved, please sign up to help. Volunteers are what make the AGC community strong. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Glenda. The next committee chair will be Eileen Baumgart, who heads up Emergency Preparedness Committee. And somewhere she's out there.
Yeah, I think I got it.
Got it, okay.
The Emergency Preparedness Advisory Committee, the role is really twofold. First, as our name states, we're advisory to the AGYC Board of Directors, and if they or the general manager have an emergency preparedness or response issue that they would like to see addressed, they can refer that issue to the committee. Primary example of that over the past year was a request that we suggest ways that the community could support homebound residents during the coronavirus stay-at-home restrictions. Second, we take efforts to promote personal, household, and community emergency preparedness, primarily focusing on the first two elements at this time. This includes writing occasional articles for the foremast. We were also in the process of planning a personal and household preparedness town hall for this May to include representatives from the Sheriff's Office, the Fire District, and Mason County Emergency Management, and potentially others. But our planning came to an abrupt halt with the countywide coronavirus shutdown. We will consider revisiting this when the clubhouse is able to reopen and the county declares that we can have meetings of up to 50 people. We meet about once every other month, generally on Friday afternoons, to accommodate members that are still working. And we'd welcome any members that have an interest in the topic to join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eileen. Our next presenter will be Jeff Bickford, who chairs the Environmental Committee.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hey, Jeff.
I'm doing great. What are you doing, Tim? The Environment Committee deals with a variety of different issues around our community, including these several over the past year. First is staffing and oversight of the organics collection site, which is open every Monday and the first Saturday of each month during the month of April through October. As you mostly know, April didn't happen this year because of the shutdown by the governor, but we are back open again on our regular schedule. Last year, there were 493 loads of material brought to the site. In 2019, an increase of actually 30% over the previous year. So this facility gets used quite extensively. Additionally, as far as the organic collection site this past year, we coordinated with CHAD's staff. If you recall, we came back in January looking to do a burn of the backlog of material. That was actually occurred at the end of February, and it was done actually successfully. I was able to monitor that. They did a good job. They were able to burn for 3 days and got rid of a lot of material. There's still a little bit left, but it was too wet and gloppy and composted to really burn. So we'll continue to try to manage that. Another thing we deal with as a community is addressing potential water quality issues throughout our community and looking at possible solutions and educational opportunities. This includes an ongoing educational outreach campaign about the dangers of pet waste to your water. You may have noticed the past couple of years, each spring we've been putting extensive articles in the foremast and trying to, again, continue to educate about that, because it is if you walk the roads, you know what I'm talking about. Third item, particularly, we assist with the beautification of the community through plantings, such as those that performed at the Memorial Garden this last fall, where we did a lot of daffodil planting and weeding. We also did planting of daffodils up in the Wickiup area as well. Additionally, every spring, Karen Logan and others help her out to plant the tea baskets that you see hanging at the baskets of flowers that you see hanging on every tee around the golf course, as well as a few that hang up along some of the roadsides. Additionally, they do some of the plantings of the flower containers around the clubhouse as well. So again, trying to beautify our community. The committee itself meets the second Saturday of each month at 9 a.m. Obviously, since COVID came around, we stopped meeting. We typically would meet in the clubhouse, but we're doing the Zoom thing for right now. We hope to, when the clubhouse opens again, meet back there. Let's see. Just do want to mention that the Environment Committee is the only acting and standing committee in AGYC that actually meets on a weekend. We do that in order that folks that do work are able to attend. We'd like to be able to provide that opportunity for folks. We have a few goals for our upcoming year. We're going to be working to process the materials at the organics collection site into mulch. The idea is not to let it build for 10 or 15 years until you have to burn it all, which is what happened recently. But as the material comes in, our crew has a chipper of sufficient size to be able to keep up if we start working on it as it comes in. That with the mulch, the idea will be that is available for both maintenance to use around the golf course and maybe on some of the trails, but additionally, it would be available for residents to be able to go down, load up as much as they want, and be able to take it back and use it or maybe in their garden for, you know, on paths or mud control or whatever, that kind of thing. We're going to continue our educational efforts to reduce various sources of water pollutants. And another goal for this coming year is to investigate and coordinate with Chad and his staff in the expansion of off-street walking trails for pedestrian safety. And particularly what we're looking at is along Manzanita, particularly along the third hole is there, because we have a lot of folks that walk their dogs and walk themselves along that stretch, and it's quite unsafe. And the idea is try to get them, actually get them walking off the road. Finally, I'd just like to thank all the members of the committee for their participation. They're Marilyn and Jeff Eastby, Kevin Hoonan, Paula Gallagher, Dan Coates, Karen Logan, Jenny Chitwood, Jan Weatherly, Rebecca Hazel, Dawn Whittick, and our board liaison who's been extremely helpful, Terry Arugio. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Sounds like you've had a busy year.
We try.
Yeah, good, good. All right. I'm amazed at how quickly this is all going, because we don't have to wait for somebody to get up from the audience and walk forward and then go back, and etc. Thanks so very much, Jeff. All right, the next person giving a report will be Bill Holtz for the hat that he wears as finance chairman. Bill?
Tim, do you mind if I do both committees at the same time?
That takes me out of order, Bill, but no, go ahead.
Okay. Because I was going to start with strategic planning. The strategic planning committee is charged with recommending updates and monitoring progress of our strategic plan, assessing where we are now and where we want to be in 10+ years, and establish a plan to gather AGYC member input. We started the last fiscal year by conducting, analyzing, and reporting on the 2019 member survey to access member views, thoughts, and visions. From this, we created the new AGYC vision and mission statement. From the results of the survey and directly flowing from the vision and mission statement, the committee drafted a new AGYC strategic plan. The plan has 3 main objectives, with each corresponding action item directly related to one of the bulleted points of the vision of our community as communicated by you, the members, through participation in the committee and in completing the annual member survey. The vision, mission, and strategic planning text are online on our website. Please take a look and see the valuable work this committee does. Thanks go out to our regular members of this committee, Kurt Cresswell, Ken Goldblatt, Sharon Ferguson, Mary Jane Kennedy, Pete Wall, Ian Roberts, and our board liaison, Marnie Hart. In the next fiscal year, the committee plans to conduct its 3rd annual AGYC member survey. We wanted to wait until we regain a new normal lifestyle so as to guide us in the proper questions and not skew the data during these extraordinary times. From the survey data, any changes or tweaks to the strategic plan and the committee's recommendations to the board can be made. The Strategic Planning Committee is a conduit to the board on the hopes and dreams of our members. We generally meet once a month for an hour. All members are welcome. Thank you. Now for the Finance Committee, which is closely related to strategic planning. The Finance Committee looks at the financing of our today and of our tomorrow. The committee is charged with making recommendations to the board regarding the annual budget, plans for capital improvement programs, internal review and audit plans, investment policies for savings and reserves, and short and long-term financing plans. The regular members of the committee this last year included Ken Goldblatt, Paul Strapak, Gordon Keller, Mary Jane Kennedy, Kenny Warren, Ian Roberts, Fred Pape, Pete Wall, AGYC Treasurer Dave Hawkins, Board Liaison Marnie Hart, and Bookkeeper Don Heyman. We need to, and I know the President has already done this, we need to all give special thanks to Ken Goldblatt for the many hours and hard work in the road and drainage project, which is the recipient of the special assessment this committee recommended in the 2018-19 fiscal year. Ken has kept us on budget and has provided project management of a complicated program with moving parts. Thank you, Ken. This upcoming year will be important for the Finance Committee as we initiate reviews to increase the transparency of our operation and reserve budgets, work with a new GM to help us stay on the right fiscal path, and help the board make smart decisions on all things related to the funds our members provide. The Finance Committee usually meets once a month, but that increases when we are in the budget review season, generally in the February to April time period. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bill. All right, the next presenter of the report will be Carol Norbeck, who's in charge of, or chairing the House and Facilities Committee, excuse me. I need to change seats so you can see her, excuse me.
Hello. The House and Facilities Committee is very important, and I wish it had more members for the reason that we need what your opinion is of what we need to do to make the place more beautiful, more functional, whatever it is you need. We have a committee that is the hardest working people I've ever met. One is Paul Strapak, and then Kennedy's, the Caroline and Tom, and both of them have done so much work that has saved us so much money. We've upgraded and created the pickleball courts and the basketball court so it's more useful, and created a new asset for ourselves. We have guarded our new barbecue with a doghouse to cover it so it's safe. And currently they're in the point of making a drain around it so the wood doesn't rot. We have been trying to create a safer environment at the playground, and Paul and Tom did a lot of work getting the ground ready and helping make sure that the wood was in and to put the stop to the pebbles, and done a great job. And Carolyn did an amazing job raising the money for that project, and also doing overseeing getting it here, buying it, following through. You know, they're used to much bigger projects, and so when you're asking for one thing, they kind of make it hard for you. And they've worked in the clubhouse. They've done some repairs, an emergency repair of the golf shop, and assembled racks for them and anything they could do to help. They've raked and weeded in the Wiki Up grounds, and on ongoing repair the cracks and around cracks in the pickleball and basketball courts. So we have a lot to thank those three people for, because that's a lot of work. Next year, Paul Strapak is considering being the community leader. And I really hope people get involved, because it's so much. And this job is real close to the GM, because they kind of are there to do whatever they need. So thank you very much. I'll give you back your president.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, next would be Rod Heidelman, who's chairman of the Trees Committee. I caught you, Rod.
Moving away. Okay, tree committee, just gonna make it short and simple. I'd just like to explain the process to go through when you want to have trees taken out. Everyone knows that a tree that's greater than 5 inches in diameter needs to have board approval for their removal. So if you have a tree that you want to remove, either fill out the form online under the tree committee, or just send me an email, and that would have some type of documentation so I don't forget about it and you wonder why we didn't get back to you. Once that request has gone in, 2 tree committee members will go out and review the trees in question. I've been doing it by myself since March 14th, but now that we're in a different phase, we'll go ahead and start having 2 persons going out to make a review. And then once the 2 persons come to the conclusion on what type of recommendation to make, we'll pass that recommendation on to the board for their approval or their denial. You'll be notified prior to the board's meeting of what our recommendation is. So if you don't agree with the recommendation, you'll have an opportunity to go ahead and appeal. If the board does approve your request, then you can go ahead and schedule removal of the trees, not prior to that. We would generally recommend the removal of sick, damaged, or endangered or dead trees, but not healthy trees, unless they're causing some type of damage to your property, such as root damage causing upheaval in your driveway, or if it's too close to the house, trees that are within 10 feet of the house can be removed with the board approval, of course. But generally, healthy trees will not be removed. Even especially if it's something like fir needles in your gutters or messing up your patio and that type of thing. You live in a forested area, you're going to have your gutters cleaned, and you have to blow your deck regularly. So that type of thing. My 2 active members right now are Paulette Johnson and Rainey Lambert, excuse me. And I'd like to thank them for their help on this. We've gone through quite a few different trees on it over the last year. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Rod. And the next person who chairs a committee is Judy Hartford. She's been co-chairing this past year with Barb Hooten, and Judy is going to take over as sole chairman this coming year. So thank you for doing that, Judy. And this will be for the welcoming committee. And this is, I can't say any more than I should, but the welcoming committee is one of the very, very great committees, because it's the very first thing that many of our new membership get to experience about Alderbrook. And the past chairmen have done a marvelous job, and you've continued to do such as well. So thank you very much. In your report, Judy, you ready?
Thanks, Tim. Can you hear me? Thank you. The mission of the Welcoming Committee, as Tim mentioned, is to provide that first friendly, welcoming presence to our newest neighbors, and then to help them navigate all the wonderful opportunities that we have here, to let them know a little bit of information about the AGYC and to orient them to the area. So during the past 12 months, that mission has meant that we have welcomed 45 new families to our community. Between the months of June of last year and February of this year, that welcome included a member of our committee dropping off a bag that looks like this to our new neighbors. And inside this bag are all kinds of resources, including a letter of welcome from the committee, a list of AGYC events that they could attend, such as the potlucks at the Wikia. There was information about the men's and ladies golf clubs, or golf clubs, a wide array of volunteer opportunities, such as the committee heads have already mentioned today. And then we even had voter registration information for Mason County included at that. And last but not least, we would also have a little bag of biscotti fresh from the kitchen of Carolyn Kennedy. So it was a very wonderful, homey, warm touch. And then came the coronavirus. And one of the things that stopped us in our tracks is that we weren't able to make that warm, friendly, in-person welcome, and we've really missed that. So in the meantime, for those members who have joined our community in the last couple of months, we've been sending a little card of welcome saying, we are going to come visit you as soon as stay home, stay healthy protocols are lifted and we can all feel more comfortable meeting in person, and you will get a blue bag with all kinds of wonderful things in it. It also, by the way, one of the wonderful things about this community and about the relationship that this community has not only with merchants in Union, but in all of Mason County, is that we have merchants, shop owners, retailers, as well as our Alderbrook Resort and Spa at the bottom of the hill, who also give us coupons and discounts that we include in the bag too. So again, this is really a community effort thanks to our committee members who help with that, and also thanks to the great larger community that we live in. The other responsibility of the Welcoming Committee is that we host 2 welcome receptions every year, and we were able to host our fall welcome reception on October 26th. It was well attended. We had fabulous hors d'oeuvres provided by Chef Leon, and again, a number of our merchants provided us door prizes that we could give to our new neighbors who were in attendance. So we were hoping that we were going to have a spring reception that was originally scheduled for April, but we're going to postpone that until, again, the clubhouse is open and restrictions on number of people who can meet together are lifted. So stay tuned. That's a preview of coming attractions. So our committee has been very fortunate to have several dedicated current members who offer this graciousness and kindness and warm welcome to our neighbors. And that includes currently Rhonda Westover, Judy Wilson, and Dolores Barrett. We also are welcoming 4 new members to our committee so far: Linda Schwint, Barbara Lynch, Jan Coates, and Linda Wilson. And if anyone's interested in joining us, please send me an email. You are more than welcome to join us. I also want to take a moment to recognize 4 ladies who have been the heart and soul of the Welcoming Committee, who really were our founding mothers. They are retiring from our committee this year. As Tim mentioned, Barbara Hoonan was my co-chair last year, and I couldn't have done it without her. It was my first year on the committee, and it was wonderful to be able to chair this committee in partnership with her. So thank you, Barb. Carolyn Kennedy and Marsha Hawkins have been with the committee since the very beginning 5 years ago, and really provided the foundation and basis for all the work that we do now. Finally, a very, very big thank you to Edie Reclasato, who was the original chair of the Welcoming Committee, who founded, to all these ladies, who founded the Welcoming Committee as an offshoot of the Communications Committee. Edie and her original committee truly started something wonderful. And we are so very fortunate and grateful for that, for them starting all of this, and then for all of the members who have sustained and contributed to the warm welcome that we extend to our new neighbors. So again, if you're interested in joining us, we meet the second Wednesday of every month at 10 a.m. And I'd be happy to chat with anyone who'd like more information. And for all our new neighbors who may be on this Zoom call, welcome, and we're delighted to have you, and we cannot wait to see you. And as soon as we can, expect a visit from us. We look forward to seeing you all. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so very much, Judy. And again, that committee does marvelous things for us. Now, it's time for an advertisement. One of our committees really kind of got shut down when the whole virus thing started, and that's our activities committee. And so they have no report. And I promised that I would do everything I could to encourage people to volunteer for this committee because it's going to start up again. We're starting to reopen slowly as it is. So please join the activities committee because they've done marvelous things as far as creating unique activities for the entire community to get involved with. So just try and get people out there.
Announce when it is.
I don't know. Then we're at the end of the committee reports. And in, last year we started something that was really a lot of fun. And I'd like to continue that tradition or make it a tradition by doing it a second year. And that is we have a wonderful trophy, which is the little committee chair Oscar that we award to the chairman of the year. And last year it went to Bill Holtz, who is chairing both the finance and the finance and what's the other, strategic planning committee, which is a big job. After a lot of deliberation this year, it was decided that the person that is going to get this is somebody who really embraced the committee that they're in charge of, made it their own, has taken it way beyond what I think most of us think of it as being, and that is Jeff Bickford. The committee he chairs, of course, is the Environmental Committee. And I think most of us, myself included, thought of that as being primarily, quite I hate to say it, Jeff, because I know you hate it, the burn pit. He's made it so much more, and it's really opened my eyes as to what really the Environmental Committee needs to do in order to keep us ahead of the game. And Jeff, you've done an absolutely outstanding job of this. You've been a great leader, and hopefully you will continue to do it. So,
well, thank you very much, Tim.
Yeah, sometime after the meeting, okay, we will meet, right?
Okay.
So if you'd like to do a little acceptance speech, please take it.
Not really, but I'd just like to put it out there. Anybody else that's interested in joining our committee, let me know. We would love to have you. And thank you very much, by the way.
You're welcome. You're well deserved. Okay. Now, we're going to open it up for any comments or questions from the chat board. And I can see there were a couple, but I think they've been answered. So if anybody has a question or a comment that you would like to make, feel free to do so on the chat board, and we'll leave that open for a moment or two. But while we're waiting, because I don't see anything, I'll kind of do a little fill work here. I also want to thank a couple of other people, one being Kelly Holtz. Kelly is the recording secretary for the board, and she does an outstanding and truly amazing job. For those of you like myself who have difficulty talking and breathing at the same time, she can do that, plus write and record all of the information that needs to go into our permanent records. And Kelly, thank you so very, very, very much. She's also obviously heavily involved in so many other aspects of the community, but this is the one area that I really wanted to recognize her on. Another person that is really behind the scenes, we used to see her every once in a while, who is the former recording secretary, is Shirley Swenson. And Shirley takes care of updating all of our, what we call the document review committee. And that's a lonely job. She works closely with Rhonda or with Marnie or other people in order to make sure that as times change and we need to update our documents, Shirley takes charge of that and does a marvelous job. And so we don't get to see her very often because she's no longer at every board meeting, but Shirley, thank you so very, very much, because we could not survive without your work. And finally, I want to thank the leadership that we have from our department heads, and that would be Chad and Sam and Don. The three of you have shown to me in a very short period of time your capability of picking up and moving on and helping us continue our day-to-day operations without a hitch. For when I can get into the bank to do the transfer. Don bailed me out of that. And anyways, I thank you all very much. We'll continue to need your support, but I know you guys have already proven that you have the ability to do what needs to be done. So thank you all very much. Let me see, do we have any more chat questions?
We have one. When can we get a beverage cart out on the golf course on the weekends again?
Good question. It'll be a little while yet, as I understand it, but the governor has been loosening rules almost daily, so it's a little difficult to keep up. Part of the problem, we've tried it and it wasn't working as well as we would like. The need right now to do, you can't do cash transactions, and so it makes it rather difficult for us to deal with that because we can't get the credit card machines to work going around the entire course. But we're optimistic that the governor will continue to loosen the golf restrictions that we currently have, and that hopefully will allow us to have that out there within the next several weeks, I would think, if we continue to move in the direction that we've been able to go. Sorry, I don't have an absolute answer on that one.
Another question is, as other restaurants are opening in the Union area, is there an update on plans for our restaurant?
We are exploring the possibility of opening the patio area because that's an easier area for us to do at this point in time. Part of our problem is that the restaurant is used for multiple functions, not just food and beverage. And in order to maintain the cleanliness and the sterile environment that we need to, right now we don't see it happening in the immediate future. Again, as things progress, I think that we will be addressing that. And I'm guessing that we'll be in stage 3, maybe by next several weeks. I understand we are applying for it in the county, and that may help loosen things up to make it a little more feasible for us to proceed with that.
So the next question is, have we considered members only for at least the bar? And isn't it true that there are beverages and sandwiches available now in the golf shop?
Yes, good point. In the interim, while we can't actively do mixed drinks, etc., in order to help the golfers, that Claire arranged to have Sam and his crew licensed for beverage side and food. And we are now providing pre-made sandwiches, and I believe it's just beer. Michael, you might be able to nod your head. Is wine also available on that, or just beer?
I haven't seen the wine, just beer, sodas, and by the way, the sandwiches are excellent.
Yes, I've heard many positive comments on the sandwiches. Okay, Rhonda, anything else?
Yeah, there is a question about the drainage, and we've got Ken on, so maybe he can answer this. The drainage team dug down 1.5 feet going across Chip Trail from fairway towards a 16th tee. Do we need to have a culvert pipe put in? Otherwise, there's going to be perhaps a foot to a foot and a half of water.
Ken, can you deal with that?
Yeah, so the area we're talking about is behind the water tank along Westwood. And up until now, with that chip path behind the water tank, it was acting as an artificial dam restraining water runoff from the ponded area around the water tank, and we were looking to relieve that. So we're talking in times of the heaviest rains, there will be some kind of a shared ponding that will run from the water tank area out to the open kind of a marshy area underneath the power lines. It is possible, if we want to drop a few smaller pipe in there and cover it back up. It wouldn't take a big effort. If the idea is that we want to retain the level surface of the walk path, then that's probably the way to go. If it's just during the heaviest rain periods that we'll experience that, maybe it's just something we monitor for a while. So I'm kind of open on that one.
Okay, I hope that provides sufficient information for the person who asked the question.
Sorry, and I should have recognized that.
Oh, Steve Payne, yeah.
Frank Paul brought that question forward. We have a general comment observation from Steve and Rhea Payne. Thanks to all the motorists for giving lots of room when passing runners and walkers, much appreciated. And then a comment from Tracy Jones, who says she rarely had a problem with the point of sale out on the cart. And as a member, why can't she volunteer as other members do, at least until the restaurant is up and running? She'd love to save the clubhouse money and help.
Okay. Tracy, talk to me later.
That's what she gets.
Yeah.
Looks like that's everything that's come in so far.
Okay, well, thank you, Rhonda, for monitoring that. Okay. I want to take a moment here and thank all of the board members that have been serving this past year, and give a special thanks again to Dave Hawkins, who has really been a strong voice of reason for the budget side. He's monitored it. He's worked extremely closely with our general manager, and he's kept the board well informed as to what's going on. And sometimes I think he was worried that we might kill the messenger, but he's still here. And I personally really appreciate Dave for all the effort that he's put in, because he became somebody that I truly relied on to tell it like it is. And that's so important for us as we continue to move forward. And with that being said, prior to Claire leaving, her and I had quite a conversation. And it was during kind of a downtime for the community. We were closed, activities were non-existent, everybody was kind of gloom, and we'd have our board meetings, and you're trying to be optimistic and plan to keep things moving in a positive direction. And our board members really participate well together. We don't agree on everything, but that's the way it really should be. In order to get to the right decision, we have to look at every possible point of view, and those of us who believe in various points need to argue our points until we come to an agreement as to how we're going to proceed, which is best for the community. And so with all that in mind from the conversation, I decided that a nice thing that we could do for each of the board members to show our appreciation for helping us through the times that we've been going through thus far. And I'm optimistic that we're going to get through this sooner rather than later at this point, is that each board member is going to get a photograph of the community, one that I love, that shows what you fought for. And so to remind you each and every day, I hope. So thank you very much. Now, we'll move on to the election part of the meeting. Again, we had 3 candidates who chose to run for the board, and that's Bill Holtz, Michael Johnson is running for his 2nd term, and Pete Wall. We had a good turnout. We had 539 people vote this year, which is good. So I'm very pleased with that, because it shows that the community is becoming involved and really wants good leadership. There are no losers, frankly. I don't want anybody to look at it that way. But the 2 members who are voted in for the board for 2020 and 2021, or actually for 3 years, excuse me, starting 2020 this year, will be Bill Holtz and Michael Johnston. So thank you, congratulations to both of you. And Pete, thank you so very much for running for the board. We really appreciate all your efforts. Hope to have you on committees at least. Okay, so the next board meeting will be Monday, June 15th, 2020 at 6 p.m. and that will be done via Zoom. There will be a special board meeting which immediately follows this meeting here. So the board can get together, the new board, to elect the officers that will be representing Alderbrook Golf and Yacht Club for this next year. With that, I am going to close the meeting. We've done it in 1 hour and 3 minutes, it looks like, which is probably a record. Thank you. And I hope everybody received information that was valuable. Rhonda, you have a question?
Isn't the next meeting open to the public?
Yes. I didn't say it was an executive session, but yes, the next meeting is open, but its sole purpose will be to elect the officers.
Okay, so some of us can stay on then.
That's right.
Tim,
Yes.
I understand we need a motion to close the meeting.
Yes, we will. Do I have a motion to close this meeting, please?
I move that we close this meeting.
Okay, that's Michael Johnston, Kelly. And do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Rhonda.
She can't. I'll second.
Okay, thanks, Ron.
It's a member vote.
That's a member vote, I think, but hey, Ron, nice to see you. Okay, I'll call for a hands up, I guess. Those in favor say, raise your right hand, say aye, I can see them. It looks like it carries unanimously. I now consider this meeting closed. Thank you. All right.